Now, at the time the Vietnam War was happening, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., this is the holiday in his memory, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., he came out against it in 1967. And he was condemned by the NAACP for coming out against it. They told him not to come out against it. It was hurting the civil rights movement. He should just focus on civil rights.
Estimated that we spend $322,000 for each enemy we kill in Vietnam, while we spend in the so-called war on poverty in America only about $53 for each person classified as poor. The promises of the Great Society have been shot down on the battlefield of Vietnam, making the poor, white and Negro, bear the heaviest burdens both at the front and at home.
And he went to Riverside Church in Harlem in New York City, and he gave a very powerful speech condemning the Vietnam War. And in that speech, he said the following thing: "These are revolutionary times. All over the globe, men are revolting against old systems of exploitation and oppression. And out of the wounds of a frail world, new systems of justice and equality are being born. The shirtless and barefoot people of the land are rising up as never before. People who sat in darkness have seen great light. And we in the West must support these revolutions." That was Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. a year before he was assassinated. And what he was really saying there was that the Vietnam War wasn't about capitalism versus communism. It was about Vietnam, which is a deeply impoverished country historically, fighting in order to industrialize, fighting to take control of its country and build itself up. That they were under the domination of the French, they were under the domination of American and British corporations, and they wanted economic independence so they could build themselves up. That was really what the issue was. And Noah and I, we got to attend the World Youth Festival in Sochi, Russia. And we actually got to meet people from Vietnam, representatives of the mass youth organizations of Vietnam. And right now, Vietnam is experiencing what the World Business Forum has called an economic miracle. They have given their country a high-tech upgrade, internet access all across the country. They have provided education on a massive scale. Since the end of the Vietnam War, they've seen their life expectancy go up by 17 years, and it just continues rising. The Vietnamese government has proceeded to raise people up from poverty. And it's not just Vietnam. I mean, you go to another part of the world, part of the reason we're pushing this bridge is because there is an economic expansion happening very, very rapidly. The rise of the BRICS countries. There's whole sections of the globe that we were taught about in school that they just kind of glossed over. It was like they weren't even important. Big sections, big land masses in Russian Far East, Mongolia, Central Asia, all these places that they just didn't used to matter. They're becoming electrified. And there's railway going through them. And there's people rising up from poverty and getting running water and electricity and modern technology. And what is happening in the Far East is very, very exciting. Meanwhile, here in the West, our economy is getting worse and worse and worse. I tell people that there are unpaving roads in the United States while they're paving roads in the most rural, isolated parts of China. They're literally unpaving the roads here in the United States. 27 different states have situations where local municipalities can't afford to maintain paved roads. They pull up the asphalt. We saw the Francis Scott Key Bridge that collapsed. Remember that? That was in this part of the country. More recently, we saw the wildfires raging in Los Angeles. And then we found out part of the reason that the wildfires got so bad is because the local Democratic Party, Samantha Power and Joe Biden and Kamala Harris sent a bunch of the fire protection equipment to Ukraine. And so rather than having it there to provide and protect people, the fires were raging because they didn't have the proper equipment. Absolutely outrageous. And it seems that our leaders in the United States are not loyal to the United States. They're loyal to an international financial system. They're loyal to defending this British Empire, globalist, imperialist way of doing things. They're loyal to Atlanticism and the international financial system that concentrates wealth in great cities like Wall Street, New York, like the London Stock Exchange. And not only does it suck the life out of the countries under its domination, but it's sucking the life out of the heartland of America.